The lantern shook faintly in his hand, the light dipping toward the warped wall. The cabin creaked, dust trembling loose from the beams. The child's whisper caught through the silence. "I can hear him." The soldier froze. His breath fogged white. The canine stiffened, ears flat, a growl rumbling low. Another sound came, faint, dragging, from behind the boards. The girl tugged his sleeve, whispering harder, panic cracking her words. "Don't let him find me." The soldier steadied his light lower, rifle pressed close. He leaned forward, every muscle locked. From behind the wall, a voice whispered back. "Don't let him find me." The child gasped, screaming, "That's not me." The canine barked once, sharp, explosive. Dust rained from the ceiling. The soldier whispered rough, his finger tightening on the trigger. "Who's there?" The wall whispered back. "Who's there?" Cut rewind to earlier that night. The storm outside clawed at the cabin walls, wind pushing snow through every crack it could find. But inside, the air felt heavier than the blizzard. The soldier held the lantern low, the flame's glow trembling in the glass as his hand tightened around its handle. His rifle hung ready in the other hand, the barrel pointing down but never far from rising. The girl pressed herself against his sleeve, her small fingers twisting the thick fabric of his coat. She hadn't spoken for almost an hour, not since he'd brought her inside and closed the door on the storm. She had just stared at the floor, lips trembling, eyes wide, listening. Then her voice came, soft, cracked, as though it had been trapped too long. "I can hear him." The soldier froze. The words slid into his chest like ice. His eyes moved instantly to the cracked wooden wall at the far end of the cabin. It was warped with age, the boards bowed, nails rusted deep. He could hear the faint drip of melting frost sliding down the seams. But no movement. Nothing beyond the creak of the beams above. His jaw tightened. His voice came out low, calm but rough. "What do you hear?" The girl didn't look up. Her fingers twisted tighter into his coat. Steps. Breathing. The soldier lowered the lantern toward the floor. The light spilled long across the boards, cutting into the cracks. Dust hung in the glow, spinning like tiny sparks. The wood shone damp in places, streaks where moisture bled from outside, or from something else. The canine stiffened. The black shepherd had been resting by the door, its head on its paws, chest rising steady. But now its ears flicked. Its head rose slowly, eyes locked on the same warped wall. A growl slipped from its throat, low and rolling, vibrating the cabin's air. The soldier exhaled slowly, his breath fogging white in the lantern glow. He steadied his grip on the rifle. His boots creaked against the floorboards as he stepped closer to the wall. The lantern's flame flickered as though it too feared what it lit. The girl whispered again, softer this time, almost lost in the dog's growl. "Don't let him find me." The soldier stopped mid-step. His heart thudded once, hard. He looked down at her. Her lips were still. She hadn't spoken. He jerked his gaze back to the wall. From behind the warped wood, the whisper came again. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's stomach clenched. His finger slid toward the trigger. The canine snarled, standing now, hackles stiff, claws scraping against the floor. Its bark tore suddenly into the silence, sharp, explosive, violent. The walls rattled, dust raining from the rafters above. The girl shrieked, covering her ears, her face pressed against his side. "That's not me." The soldier swung the rifle up, the barrel snapping toward the wall. His breath tore ragged through his teeth. He steadied the lantern lower, its beam cutting across the cracks. And then it came again, his own voice, thrown back at him, soft but broken. "What do you hear?" The soldier's throat closed. His knees locked. His chest burned with the weight of air too heavy to breathe. The girl clung to him tighter, her whisper now trembling but real. "Please don't let him find me." The canine barked again, savage, as though to drown out the words. The soldier's jaw clenched. His eyes never left the wall. His voice came low, hard, and raw. "If you were in my place, would you hold your ground, or drag her out into the storm?" The lantern shook faintly in his grip. From behind the wall, a faint drag sounded. Nails or claws pulling slow against wood. The voice whispered back, fractured, broken. "Hold your ground. Drag her out." The soldier's stomach turned. His pulse roared against his skull. He pressed the rifle tighter against his shoulder, his finger brushing the trigger. The girl whimpered again, clutching his coat. And then, 3 sharp knocks. From inside the wall. Knuckles on wood. The canine roared into another violent bark, lunging forward a step before locking rigid again, its teeth flashing in the dim glow. The soldier's breath caught. His vision tunneled to the warped boards. Something was inside. The knocks echoed through the cabin, sharp and deliberate. They weren't the random creaks of old wood, these were measured. Intentional. 3 strikes, spaced too evenly to be anything but deliberate. The soldier's breath caught. His rifle barrel pressed tight against his shoulder, finger brushing the trigger. He shifted his stance slightly, boots groaning against the old boards. The girl whimpered, clutching his sleeve, her head buried against him. Her voice cracked raw. "Don't let him in." The soldier lowered the lantern just an inch closer to the wall. The light stretched across the cracks, making every nail head gleam, every splinter throw long shadows. His throat was dry, but his voice came steady. "Stay behind me." The canine's growl deepened, a low rumble like thunder building under the earth. Its hackles were high, tail rigid, body trembling with the restraint of not lunging. It took a sharp step forward, claws clicking against the wood. The dog's chest heaved with short bursts, nostrils flaring. It smelled something there, something beyond what the soldier could see. Then came the scrape. Slow, deliberate. Nails dragging along the inside of the wall. The soldier steadied himself, his voice low. "Who's there?" The whisper came back instantly. "Who's there? Who's there? Who's there?" The same words, the same cadence, but layered, fractured, broken. His own voice thrown back at him, twisted. The soldier's jaw clenched. His eyes flicked to the girl, her lips pressed tight, trembling but sealed shut. She hadn't said a word. Her cry broke anyway. "That's not me." The canine barked savagely, the sound so violent it rattled the lantern glass. The light flickered wildly, shadows whipping across the walls. Dust shook loose from the rafters and fell like ash. The soldier's grip tightened on the rifle. His voice came harder. "Show yourself." The wall groaned back, bending under some unseen pressure. A sharp crack split one of the boards, dust pouring into the room. The whisper spilled out again, this time soft, pleading. "Don't let him find me." The soldier froze. His heart slammed against his ribs. That was her voice, the girl's exact words, tone for tone. But she was pressed to his side, her eyes wide, silent. Her scream shattered the cabin's stillness. "That's not me." The soldier's knees locked. His vision blurred with sweat. He steadied the rifle tighter, his throat burning. The canine lunged forward another step, its teeth snapping at the empty air, foam flecking from its muzzle. Its growl thundered, vibrating through the floor. The soldier shouted above the noise, desperate. "What do you want?" The wall answered immediately, fractured. "What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?" Each echo sharper, as though the wall itself were learning his voice. The soldier's stomach turned. His breath tore ragged, his ribs aching with every inhale. His eyes locked on the widening crack, dust swirling through the lantern light. The girl's whisper pressed against him, softer now, almost drowned by the storm of echoes. "Please, don't let him." The soldier's chest tightened. His jaw locked. He whispered back without thinking. "I won't." The wall shuddered. The boards rattled. Nails popped loose, pinging against the floor. Then came another sound. A laugh. Low. Broken. Echoing through the boards. The soldier's blood ran cold. His rifle steadied instantly, his breath sharp. The K9 barked again, savage, straining against invisible chains of instinct. The soldier steadied himself, his voice sharp, hard, tearing through the cabin. "If you were me, would you fire through this wall, or wait to see what comes out?" The wall groaned, and the voices answered, fractured, broken. "Fire through this wall. Wait to see. Fire. Wait." The soldier's chest heaved. Sweat froze against his skin, streaking into his eyes. He blinked hard, pressing the rifle even tighter. The girl sobbed harder, her words shivering against his arm. "Don't let him find me." The soldier steadied his breath. His voice broke through the storm, low, certain. "Not while I'm here." The wall bulged inward suddenly, one of the boards bending under a heavy press. Dust exploded into the room. The girl screamed. The dog lunged, teeth flashing. The soldier's finger pulled tight against the trigger. But before the shot rang out, the whisper cut through all of it, louder, sharper, desperate. "Help me." The words slammed into the soldier's skull like a hammer. "Help me." It wasn't just a whisper, it was a cry, sharp and desperate, tearing through the warped boards as though the wall itself had lungs. The soldier's finger tightened against the trigger, his throat raw. The lantern flame shivered wildly, throwing long shadows across the cabin. Dust swirled thick, choking, like smoke. The girl's scream ripped through the chaos. "That's not me." Her voice cracked with terror, pulling his gaze down for a split second. She clung to his sleeve, her face buried, but her words were clear. They didn't come from her. The K9 erupted with another savage bark, snapping its teeth inches from the wall. Its hackles stood like wire, its whole body trembling with violent restraint. Saliva flew from its jaws, spraying the floor as it snarled. The soldier pressed his boots wider into the boards, lowering his weight, steadying the rifle against his shoulder. He shouted over the storm of whispers, raw and hard. "Show yourself." The wall groaned. Nails squealed as they bent. A crack split wider, wood fibers tearing like cloth. A burst of dust exploded into the room. The soldier's breath tore ragged, his eyes stinging. He steadied the lantern lower, light pouring across the split. And then, fingers. Pale. Bloodied. Nails split and blackened, clawing through the gap. They scraped long, jagged lines into the floor as they dragged forward. The girl screamed louder, clutching his sleeve so tight her knuckles went white. "Don't let him in." The soldier's chest locked. He pressed the rifle barrel closer, sight fixed on the emerging hand. His breath came sharp, each inhale rattling against his ribs. The whisper came again, softer now. "Don't let him find me." The soldier froze. His eyes snapped to the girl. Her lips were sealed shut, her face buried against him. It wasn't her. The K9 lunged forward, teeth flashing, jaws clamping onto the pale hand. Bones snapped under the dog's bite, a sickening crack that echoed through the cabin. Blood sprayed against the boards, streaking down in hot rivulets. The soldier's ears rang. His finger pulled tight. The rifle roared. The muzzle flash lit the cabin in violent light, the recoil slamming into his shoulder. The hand snapped back, torn, splintered bone dragging into the dark. Blood spattered across the wall. The girl screamed louder, her face buried in his coat. The soldier steadied his stance, reloading with sharp, mechanical precision. The bolt snapped, echoing through the silence that followed. But it didn't last. The whisper came back. "Help me." This time softer, weaker, almost pitiful. "Please, help me." The soldier's throat burned. His chest heaved. His jaw clenched. "You're not her." The voices fractured instantly, mimicking his words. "You're not her. You're not her. You're not her." The sound rose louder, overlapping, until the cabin itself rattled with the storm of his own denial. The girl's sobs pressed against him, her voice thin but certain. "Please don't let him take me." The K9 snarled again, stepping forward, claws scraping deep into the wood. Its bark ripped out, sharp, grounding the moment. The soldier forced his breath steady, voice sharp. "If you were in my boots, would you believe the one that cries, or the one that trembles?" The wall answered back instantly, fractured. "Believe the one that cries. Believe the one that trembles. Believe the one that cries." The soldier's chest squeezed tight. His vision swam. Sweat froze against his temples. The wall bulged again. Boards bent inward, cracks splitting wider. Dust poured down in veils. Something heavy pressed from the other side, dragging the structure inward. The K9 lunged once more, snapping its jaws, saliva spraying. Its bark thundered, a sound so violent it shook the lantern glass. The soldier steadied his rifle again, his pulse hammering in his ears. His finger pressed against the trigger, but his chest locked. The whisper came back, clearer, louder. "Daddy." The soldier's stomach twisted. His chest collapsed. His breath froze in his throat. The girl behind him shrieked, clawing his coat. "That's not me." The K9 snarled louder, its teeth flashing in the lantern light. The soldier's vision blurred, his knees trembling. His breath tore ragged. The wall cracked wider. And through it, a face pressed forward. Pale. Blood-streaked. Lips trembling. Eyes wide. Her face. The pale face pressed harder through the splintered boards, the wood groaning under the strain. Its lips quivered, streaked with dried blood, its eyes wide and unblinking. The lantern's glow flickered against its skin, making every crack, every smear of dirt and crimson stand out in grotesque detail. The soldier's chest locked. His rifle sight steadied directly on its head, finger hovering over the trigger. His breath tore ragged, rattling inside his chest. The girl's scream split through the moment, shrill, desperate. "That's not me." Her hands clawed at his sleeve, shaking violently, tears streaking hot down her frozen cheeks. The K9 lunged forward again, its teeth snapping inches from the face, saliva flying in white strands. Its growl thundered like a storm trapped in its chest. The face tilted slightly, jerky, unnatural. Its lips moved, and the voice spilled out, soft, pleading. "Help me." The soldier froze. His finger tightened on the trigger. "Please, help me." The voice was exact. Fragile. A perfect imitation of a child in need. The girl's sob tore from her chest. "That's not me." The soldier's throat burned. His jaw clenched so tight his teeth ached. His voice came sharp, raw. "You're not her." The wall answered instantly, fractured, layered. "You're not her. You're not her. You're not her." His denial came back to him in dozens of broken tones, pressing against his ears until he staggered. The K9 barked violently, snapping its jaws, foam spraying across the boards. The soldier steadied his rifle again, his voice torn and furious. "What are you?" The face leaned further through, eyes locked on his, lips trembling. The whisper came again, louder. "Daddy." The soldier's chest collapsed. His rifle dipped an inch. his vision blurred with sudden heat behind his eyes. The girl shrieked, shaking his arm. "That's not me." The soldier's knees buckled. His breath tore ragged. His sight swam. His finger hesitated. The canine barked once, violent, snapping him back. The soldier roared, his voice breaking. "If you were in my boots, would you trust the one that begs, or the one that trembles?" The wall screamed back instantly. "Trust the one that begs. Trust the one that trembles. Trust the one that begs." His chest heaved. His vision blurred white. His heart pounded so violently he thought it might tear free. The girl's whisper cracked against his sleeve, soft but steady. "Please, don't let him take me." The soldier's jaw clenched until it hurt. His breath steadied. His voice came low, hard. "You don't get her." He pulled the trigger. The blast cracked through the cabin, muzzle flash lighting the dust in violent gold. The false face shattered backward, blood and splinters sprang across the boards. The body collapsed into the dark behind the wall. For 1 second, silence. Then the voices rose again. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" Dozens at once, screaming now, fractured, overlapping, urgent. The wall shuddered violently. Boards split wider. Dust poured into the room. Hands clawed through, 2, 4, 6, fingers bloody, nails broken, scratching at the floor. The canine lunged, teeth clamping into one wrist. Bones snapped with a wet crack, blood spraying across the boards. It snarled, ripping until the body collapsed back. Another hand replaced it instantly. The soldier's rifle roared again, another blast tearing into the wall. One body fell, another crawled forward. "Help me! Please! Daddy!" The words overlapped until they weren't whispers anymore, they were screams. The girl sobbed harder, her voice cracking. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's throat burned. His voice tore through the storm, raw and defiant. "Not while I breathe." The wall groaned louder, splitting wider, boards snapping free and slamming to the floor. Dust fell like ash, choking the air. The soldier reloaded, his hands trembling but steady. His breath tore sharp, his ribs screaming. He pressed the rifle hard against his shoulder, eyes locked on the black void behind the boards. From the dark, dozens of mouths moved in unison. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" Their voices fractured, some high, some low, some broken into sobs. Then one rose louder, clearer, sharp above the rest. "Choose." The soldier's knees locked. His chest froze. His vision blurred white. "Choose." The canine barked once, sharp, grounding him. The soldier's throat burned as he shouted back. "I already did." The voices screamed louder, fractured, breaking into noise. "I already did. I already did. I already did." The wall shuddered violently. Splinters exploded outward. Something larger pressed forward. The cabin thundered like a living thing, every beam rattling as the wall split wider. Boards cracked free, nails shot across the room, and dust poured down in choking veils. The soldier braced himself, boots grinding against the floor, rifle raised and trembling in his grip. The canine lunged forward, its barks exploding in violent bursts, ears flat, teeth flashing. Its growl rolled deep, vibrating through the soldier's boots. Saliva dripped from its jaws as it threw itself against the swelling crack. The girl screamed into the soldier's sleeve, clutching so hard her nails bit into his coat. Her words broke apart between sobs. "Don't let him in. Please don't let him in." The soldier's breath roared through his chest. His heart hammered until every vein in his neck pulsed. He steadied the lantern low, the glow spilling across the swarm of pale arms forcing their way through the collapsing boards. Dozens of fingers clawed at the floor, some broken, some slick with blood, dragging the rest of their bodies up. The sound of nails scratching grooves into it filled the cabin like 1,000 knives against glass. And above all of it, the voices screamed. "Help me! Help me! Please! Daddy!" The soldier roared above them, his voice raw and shaking. "You're not her!" The wall screamed back instantly. "You're not her! You're not her! You're not her!" His own denial twisted into mockery, layered and distorted. The canine clamped its jaws on the nearest arm, teeth sinking deep. Bone cracked, blood sprayed hot across the floor. The dog snarled violently, shaking until the limb tore free. The body collapsed into the black behind the wall. The soldier fired. The rifle cracked, muzzle flash lighting the room in violent orange. A pale head exploded into blood and dust. Another crawled forward instantly, its mouth stretched open wide. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The girl shrieked, clawing his coat. "That's not me! Don't listen!" The soldier's throat burned. His vision blurred with sweat and dust. He roared louder, desperate. "If you were me, would you keep firing until nothing's left, or drag her into the storm and leave this behind?" The wall answered instantly, fractured. "Keep firing until nothing's left. Drag her into the storm. Leave this behind." The soldier's knees shook. His breath tore ragged, his ribs screaming. His eyes burned, the voices drilling into his skull. The girl's whisper pressed harder into his sleeve, fragile but real. "Please don't let him take me." Her trembling voice steadied him. The soldier's jaw locked. His breath sharpened. His voice came raw but certain. "Not while I breathe." The swarm screamed louder, fractured, distorted. "Not while I breathe. Not while I breathe. Not while I breathe." The soldier's ears bled fresh, streaks dripping warm against his frozen skin. His vision blurred white at the edges. His finger pulled. The rifle cracked again, another body collapsing. He reloaded with sharp, mechanical precision, the bolts snapping loud. The canine snarled, ripping another limb apart. Its muzzle dripped with blood, its chest heaving, but it didn't falter. The soldier's throat tore with another roar. "You don't get her!" The wall buckled inward violently, beams snapping. Something massive pressed from the other side, shaking the entire cabin. Dust rained thick, choking. The girl screamed, burying her face in his chest. "Don't let him find me." The soldier pressed his rifle tight, sweat freezing against his face. His chest heaved, his voice cracked raw. "Not while I'm here." The swarm screamed louder than ever, voices layering, breaking, distorting. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The cabin rattled under the weight of the sound, floorboards splitting, rafters bending. Then the whispers fractured into a single word again. "Choose." The soldier's knees locked. His chest seized. His jaw trembled. The canine barked once, sharp, echoing like a gunshot. The soldier shouted back, voice raw, desperate. "I already did." The voices screamed louder, fractured, endless. "I already did. I already did. I already did." The wall cracked wider still. Dust poured into the cabin. And then something larger, far larger, pushed against the boards, its shadow blotting out the lantern's glow. The wall finally gave. It didn't just crack, it exploded. Boards snapped like burrow bones, shards whipping across the cabin, nails firing like shrapnel. A blast of cold air punched through the gap, carrying with it the stench of rot, soil, and blood. The lantern rocked wildly in the soldier's grip, its flame guttering, shadows lurching across the walls. He steadied his stance, rifle locked, chest pounding like a drum. The girl shrieked, clinging to his sleeve so hard her fingers dug deep into his arm. Her sobs fractured into words. "Don't let him in. Please don't let him in." The K9 lunged forward with a snarl that split the air. It collided with the first pale figure crawling through the wreckage. Its jaws clamped down on a shoulder, bones snapping under the force. Blood sprayed across the boards as the dog shook violently, dragging the body back into the dark. But for every one pulled down, two more pushed through. Pale faces emerged, mouths wide, eyes too large. Their nails clawed at the floor, their voices tearing through the storm. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The sound wasn't a whisper anymore. It was a scream, fractured and distorted, each voice layered on the next until the cabin itself shook. The soldier fired. The rifle cracked, muzzle flash flaring bright. One figure's head snapped back, blood spraying against the beams. The body collapsed into the swarm, replaced instantly by another. He fired again. Another dropped. Another crawled forward. The girl screamed louder, her voice breaking. "That's not me." The soldier roared above the chaos, voice ragged. "You're not her." The swarm screamed back instantly, fractured. "You're not her. You're not her. You're not her." His own denial thrown back at him until it drilled into his skull. The K9 snarled savagely, dragging another body down, ripping into flesh. Its muzzle dripped crimson, its teeth flashing white in the lantern light. It barked once, sharp, violent, grounding the moment. The soldier's chest heaved. His ribs screamed with every breath. His ears rang with blood. His throat burned raw. The girl's whisper pressed into his sleeve, trembling but steady. "Please, don't let him take me." Her fragile words steadied him. He pressed harder into the rifle, his jaw locked tight. "Not while I breathe." The swarm screamed louder, fractured into noise. "Not while I breathe. Not while I breathe. Not while I breathe." The cabin shook under the weight of the voices. Beams groaned. Floorboards cracked. Dust poured from the rafters. The soldier shouted above it, desperate. "If you were in my boots, would you fire until you were empty, or run before the walls bury you alive?" The swarm answered instantly, fractured, broken. "Fire until you were empty. Run before the walls bury you. Fire, run, fire, run." The soldier's stomach twisted. His knees buckled. His breath tore jagged, almost choking. The girl shrieked louder, burying her face in his chest. "Don't let him find me." The K9 barked violently, lunging into another figure. Flesh tore, blood sprayed, bones cracked. The soldier pulled the trigger again. The rifle cracked, muzzle flash cutting the chaos. One more body fell, but another crawled instantly into its place. The swarm pressed harder, dozens of mouths moving in unison. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The sound became unbearable, fractured until it wasn't words anymore, it was a roar, mechanical, deafening. The soldier staggered back, rifle trembling, ears bleeding fresh. His vision blurred white at the edges. The girl sobbed harder, whispering between broken breaths. "Don't let him in." The soldier forced his breath sharp. His voice came low, steady. "Not while I'm here." The swarm screamed louder, fractured into chaos. "Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here." The soldier's finger tightened on the trigger again. His chest burned. His throat tore raw. His vision shook. The wall cracked wider, the swarm pressing harder. Dust fell like snow, beams groaning, floorboards splitting. And then, through the center of it all, one face pushed forward. Her face. Perfect. Trembling lips. Wide eyes. Blood streaked across her chin. The soldier froze. His rifle dipped. His chest collapsed. The girl shrieked behind him, clawing his coat. "That's not me." The canine snarled, teeth snapping inches from the face, saliva spraying. The soldier's throat burned. His knees locked. His vision swam. The face leaned forward, its lips trembling. "Help me." The cabin felt alive, shaking under the weight of sound. The false face pressed closer, its pale lips trembling, whispering again, soft, desperate. "Help me." The soldier's throat locked. His rifle trembled in his grip. His chest rose and fell in violent bursts, his ribs screaming with every breath. The girl sobbed behind him, shaking his coat with both fists. "That's not me." "Don't listen." The canine snarled savagely, its muzzle flecked with blood, snapping its teeth inches from the face. Saliva sprayed in the lantern light, its growl thunderous, steady, refusing to yield. The soldier steadied the rifle higher, the barrel aimed directly between the pale eyes. His breath came sharp, jagged, tearing through his throat. The face leaned closer. "Please." "Daddy." The soldier's vision blurred. Sweat froze against his temples. His heart hammered so violently his arms shook. The girl screamed louder, raw and breaking. "That's not me." The canine barked once, explosive, rattling the walls. The soldier roared above the storm, voice ragged. "You're not her." The wall screamed back instantly, fractured, layered. "You're not her. You're not her. You're not her." His own denial thundered back until it drowned the girl's sobs. His ears bled fresh, streaks trailing down his neck. The swarm pushed harder through the collapsing wall. Pale arms clawed over each other, fingers splitting, nails dragging grooves into the boards. Faces pressed forward, mouths open, all moving in unison. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The voices fractured until they weren't whispers anymore, they were a storm, deafening, mechanical, filling every corner of the cabin. The soldier staggered, his knees buckling. His vision swam white. His rifle dipped an inch before he forced it steady again. The girl's whisper pressed into his sleeve, trembling but clear. "Please, don't let him take me." Her fragile voice steadied him. He grit his teeth, pressing the rifle stock harder into his shoulder. His voice came low, torn but sharp. "Not while I'm here." The swarm screamed louder, fractured into distortion. "Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here." The sound pressed until his teeth ached, until the lantern glass rattled in its frame. The soldier roared back, desperate. "If you were in my boots, would you drown in their voices, or trust the one that trembles?" The storm answered instantly, fractured, chaotic. "Drown in their voices. Trust the one that trembles. Drown, trust, drown, trust." The soldier's chest collapsed under the weight. His vision swam. His knees hit the floorboards hard, pain tearing up his legs. The girl shrieked above the storm, her voice breaking into sobs. "Don't let him find me." The canine lunged again, clamping down on a pale wrist, snapping bone in a sharp crack. Blood sprayed hot, streaking across the boards. The dog shook violently, snarling, dragging the figure back into the black. Still more pressed forward. Dozens of mouths, all moving in perfect unison. "Help me! Help me! Help me!" The soldier's ears screamed. His vision blurred. His hands shook so violently the rifle nearly slipped from his grip. And then, suddenly, the voices shifted. They overlapped, fractured, but sharpened into a single command. "Choose." The soldier froze. His chest seized. His knees locked. "Choose." The word pressed louder than all the others, cutting through the distortion. "Choose." The soldier's throat burned. His breath shook. His finger hovered over the trigger. The girl screamed behind him, clutching his sleeve with everything she had. "Please don't listen. That's not me." The K9 barked once, sharp, echoing like a shot in the storm. The soldier's voice cracked, torn raw. "I already did." The storm screamed back instantly, fractured. "I already did. I already did. I already did." The cabin rattled under the sound. Beams groaned, rafters split, dust poured down like rain. The swarm pressed harder, mouths stretching wider, screaming until the air itself shook. "Choose! Choose! Choose!" The soldier steadied his rifle, sweat freezing against his brow. His chest heaved, every breath burning. His vision blurred white. The girl sobbed, trembling, whispering once more. "Don't let him find me." The soldier whispered back, low, fierce. "Not while I breathe." The swarm screamed again, fractured. "Not while I breathe. Not while I breathe. Not while I breathe." The soldier pulled the trigger. The blast cracked the cabin, muzzle flash lighting the storm of faces. One head snapped back, blood spraying against the wall. But the voices didn't falter. "Choose! Choose! Choose!" The soldier's knees buckled. His rifle shook in his hands. His ears bled harder. His vision blurred. The swarm screamed louder, fractured into chaos. And through the storm, one voice rose clear. "Daddy." The lantern's glass rang faintly as the cabin shook. Dust hung like fog, a gray veil that turned the soldier's beam into a thin, shivering column. He could taste metal in the air, blood, iron, cold. The rifle was an extension of his body now, hot along the palm, heavy at the shoulder. He didn't remember when his knees hit the floor, he only knew they were there, aching, grounded against the boards. The child's hands were still welded to his sleeve. Her breath came in quick, frightened stitches, warming the fabric, then freezing again as the draft knifed past them. "Don't let him find me," she whispered, barely there. The K9 planted itself between them and the torn wall, chest low, head forward, jaws wet and red. Each breath was a growl. Not show, not theater, warning. From the gap in the boards, faces pressed forward and fell away like a tide, gray skin, soil-caked hair, teeth too small or too many. Some wore the girl's eyes. One, in a flash of dizzying dread, wore his. Mouths open wider than they should. Words tumbled out in broken pieces, shards of meaning that sliced the air. "Help me. Please. Daddy. Don't let him find me." The rhythm wasn't human. It rose and fell like machinery skipping teeth. Some voices lagged behind the others, some were ahead, like a choir trying to sing a song they didn't know. The soldier kept the barrel steady. He told himself the heat along the steel meant he could still act, could still choose, that he wasn't drowned yet. The lantern flickered, then steadied, then flickered again. The dog surged on a breath and clamped down. Bone gave, clean, decisive. The figure collapsed backward into the dark, dragged by something that fought to keep its place and failed. A smear of red shone along the plank like a ripped brushstroke. The K9 didn't shake triumph, it reset, shoulder to shoulder with fate, and waited for the next thing that needed ending. The soldier spoke to find the edges of his own voice. "You're not her." A dozen mouths repeated him, wrong on purpose, a cruel harmony. "You're not her. You're not her. You're not." He felt the words hit the inside of his skull like knocks on a locked door. He kept breathing, counting to 4 in, 4 out, until the hiss in his ears softened and the room returned to the shape of wood and dog and child. Boards lifted, then bowed. A beam hummed as if tuned. The wall seemed to swell with breath. Through the gap, something big shifted, and a powder of frost sifted from the rafters. He thought of the snow outside and how simple it was, how honest. Cold was just cold. But this had intention. "Please," the girl said, voice cracking. "Don't let him take me." "I won't," he said, and because promises need anchors, the dog answered with a single, iron bark that stamped the vow into the room. The faces surged again, closer. Not a wave now, but a crowd at a threshold, impatience climbing into their shoulders. The words tangled tighter. "Help my help / daddy / please / don't let / find me / me." The soldier raised the lantern higher, then lowered it to cut under their chins. Shadows stretched back like ropes to nothing. He sighted along the barrel. One mouth reached too far as if it wanted to climb into the light. He fired. Flash. Kick. Silence. No, not silence, one less voice. Space opened and closed around the hole it left. Another head came forward to claim the vacancy. The rifle roared again. And again. He moved with ugly grace, breathe, choose, fire, reset. Heat crawled across the handguard, the metal was a warning, a clock he could not read but felt running out. Behind him, the child's breathing synced to his. In, out. In, out. A small metronome fighting chaos. A laugh rolled out from the wall, not loud, but surgical. It cut through everything and left a bright edge. He didn't let it locate him. He didn't answer it. He let the dog's growl answer instead, deeper, older. The cabin listed under another shove from the dark. Nails wept rust down the grain. The lantern flame flattened, then stood up again. The soldier locked the rifle tighter, bone to stock, promised to trigger. The voices crowded his own name now, and then his rank, and then fragments of questions he had asked a lifetime ago in other rooms. Who's there? Hold the line. Take her out. His past and present collided in the cracks, sparks ran up the inside of his ribs. Listen to me, he told the girl, not looking back. We're leaving when it breaks. Not before, not after. When I say go, you hold the dog's fur and don't let go. She nodded into his coat. Okay. The crowd behind the wall found the word and traded it around like a coin. Okay. He had used the sound of his own breath to anchor himself, now the echo borrowed even that. It wanted to own his rhythm. He refused. He made a new one, inhale on the dog's low rumble, exhale on the child's soft hiccup. Life in, life out. Their sounds, not his enemies. Another face pushed through, hers again. Perfect in every wrong way. A small cut along the bottom lip, a smear of soil on the cheek, eyes glassy with a shape of fear he knew too well. Daddy, it said, gentle, almost embarrassed to ask. It hurts. The child behind him recoiled with a sob that scalded his sleeve. That's not me. The soldier tasted salt and iron. Memory tried to climb the ladder of his spine, dragging pictures of hospital rooms and doorways and a set of boots at attention. He cut the ladder in half. He chose the hallway he was in, the beam under his shoulder, the dog's heat against his shin. If you were me, he asked the room, not the wall, not the crowd, not the thing copying grief, would you trust the voice that shakes or the one that knows every word you're about to say? The answer came in pieces, none of them trustworthy. Trust / the one / that shakes. Trust / the one / that knows. Shakes / knows / choose. He didn't argue. He fired. The face fell back like paper burned at the edges. The hole it left gulped dust and cold. Something farther inside recoiled, a lash pulled tight and then slack. The dog drove forward into the space and snapped, not at a shape but at a certainty, and the certainty gave. For a second, he saw nothing in the gap but distance, a narrow corridor where the wind lived. Then the crowd returned, thinner by one, angry by several. The cabin quieted, not less noise, but a different frequency. The chorus traded volume for weight. Words arrived as short commands, polished by many mouths. Leave. Open. Proof. Come closer. Down. The soldier didn't move. He let them bounce off the armor he had left. He set the lantern on the floor where the light could rake upward and deny the things their shadows. I say, he breathed to the child. Not yet. Her fingers found a fist of the dog's fur. The shepherd leaned into her hand without looking away from the dark. The crowd inhaled as one. More dust fell. A single board, late to the collapse, sighed and let go. It sounded like a note at the end of a hymn. Then the voices stopped competing. They lined up inside one mouth he couldn't see and, for the first time, spoke the same word in the same rhythm, with the same certainty. Choose. The lantern flame stilled. The soldier's heartbeat did not. The cabin had gone still, but not silent. The boards no longer rattled, the nails no longer popped. The storm of overlapping voices had drained away, and in its place was something colder, discipline. The torn wall yawned open, the lantern's beam cutting only so far before being swallowed by black. Pale faces lingered at the edges, but they no longer screamed. Their mouths hung half open, their jaws slack, eyes waiting. One voice rose above all the others, steady, measured, unrelenting. Choose. The soldier's grip tightened on the rifle. His pulse beat hard enough to shake the barrel. Sweat, blood, and frost burned against his skin. He had been screamed at by crowds, drowned by overlapping whispers, mocked by his own voice thrown back at him. But this was worse. This was order. Behind him, the child pressed her face deeper into his coat. Her fists knotted tighter into the fabric, anchoring herself as though he were the only thing keeping her tethered to the world. Don't let him find me, she whispered, softer than ever. The K9 stood rigid in front of them, its chest rumbling. It didn't bark this time. Its growl stayed low, constant, like the thrum of an engine waiting to ignite. Its ears were forward, its body poised to lunge at the first movement. The soldier swallowed hard, his throat dry. His voice came low, raw. I already did. The dark answered back instantly. I already did. I already did. His own words came back to him, fractured, stacked, but quieter than before. They weren't mocking this time. They were weighing. Testing. The soldier's chest rose and fell in sharp bursts. He shifted his stance, pressing the rifle tighter, lantern light shaking across the gap. He wanted to believe it was just wood and dark, just echoes in his skull. But he could feel the weight of something bigger behind it, something that wanted more than blood. The voice came again, steady. Choose. The soldier's vision blurred white at the edges. His ribs screamed with every breath. His knees trembled but held. The child's voice cracked against his sleeve, shaking. Please, don't leave me. The soldier shut his eyes for half a second, enough to lock onto her words, enough to let them cut through the storm. When he opened them again, his sight steadied on the black ahead. His voice came low, steady. You don't get her. The dark waited. The dog growled louder, tail stiff, teeth flashing in the lantern glow. The soldier shifted his aim slightly, scanning across the gaping hole. His heartbeat counted seconds, steadying the weight of silence. The voice broke it. Choose. He could almost see it now. A figure in the dark. Not fully formed, but hinted by the way dust hung heavier in one place, by the way the cold bled sharper through the gap. It didn't need a face. Its word was enough. The soldier's jaw clenched until it ached. His voice cracked raw. I choose her. The cabin seemed to breathe in. The dark swelled. The faces at the edges leaned forward. The soldier's finger curled hard against the trigger. The rifle thundered, the flash cutting the dark, lighting the swarm of faces in brutal orange. One head snapped back, another figure toppled. The K9 lunged at the same instant, its teeth sinking deep into an arm that had reached too far. Blood sprayed across the floor, hot against the cold air. The dark roared back, not with words this time, but with a wave of sound that rattled every beam, shook every board, made the lantern flicker violently on its hook. The child shrieked into his chest. "Don't let him find me." The soldier's voice cracked but didn't break. "Not while I'm here." The swarm screamed back, fractured, endless. "Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here. Not while I'm here." The voices twisted, overlapping, each one trying to drown the other. The air thickened until it was hard to breathe. The soldier reloaded, the bolt slamming loud, sharp against the chaos. His breath came steady now, jagged but certain. His chest burned, his arms shook, but he stood. "Choose," the dark said again, this time louder, furious. The soldier shouted back, voice raw enough to tear his throat. "I already did." The lantern flickered once, then twice, shadows stretching across the cabin like grasping arms. The girl sobbed harder, her words breaking apart. "Please, don't let him." The soldier pressed the rifle hard against his shoulder. His jaw locked. His eyes burned. His voice came low, fierce, steady. "You don't get her." The dark hissed back. A single voice, sharp as a blade. "Then you're mine." The board shuddered. The faces surged. The cabin rattled under the weight of the tide. The K9 barked once, sharp, final. The soldier's finger tightened on the trigger, breath sharp, chest set. The swarm pressed forward. And then, the lantern went out. The lantern died. Darkness fell heavy, swallowing the cabin whole. The soldier's breath came sharp in his chest, every inhale a fight, every exhale a vow. The girl's grip locked tighter on his coat, her body pressed into his side. The K9's growl vibrated steady in the dark, a warning alive in the floorboards. The swarm screamed. It poured through the gap, voices splintered into 1,000 broken pleas, echoing until the room itself seemed to split. Hands clawed through the black, nails tearing grooves into the wood. Faces leaned forward, their eyes catching the faintest glint from the soldier's rifle, mouths wide, words tangled. "Help me. Please. Don't let him. Daddy. Find me." The soldier set his boots deep, anchoring himself like a wall of his own. He pulled the trigger. The rifle thundered in the dark, muzzle flash burning white for half a heartbeat, lighting the swarm like lightning over a battlefield. Pale faces twisted in the light, too close, too many. Then dark again. He reloaded. Fired. Reloaded. Fired. Each shot ripped another piece of the chaos away. The dog lunged again and again, jaws clamping, bones cracking, snarls cutting the air into pieces. The girl sobbed, words lost in the noise, but her fists never left his sleeve. She stayed tethered to him. The swarm screamed louder. "Choose. Choose. Choose." The word pressed harder, shaking the cabin, making dust rain down like ash. The soldier shouted back, his voice raw, his throat torn. "I already did." The words ripped through the dark, and for the first time, the swarm faltered. The cry staggered, splitting into silence. The dog's growl filled the gap, low, certain, alive. The soldier pressed the rifle hard against his shoulder, waiting, chest burning, sweat freezing on his skin. His heart pounded steady. His breath shook but stayed. The girl's whisper cracked the quiet. Softer than ever. Fragile, but steady. "Don't let him find me." The soldier lowered his head, his voice breaking but firm. "He won't. Not while I'm here." The words settled like stone in the dark. The swarm recoiled. Faces slipped back into the black, mouths closing, hands dragging into the void. The voices fractured, softer, fading. "Not while I'm here." Not while I'm here. Not. One last echo lingered, softer than all the rest. Help me. Then silence. The soldier lowered the rifle slowly, breath tearing through his chest. He steadied the lantern in his free hand, shaking it, coaxing flame back. It flickered once, twice, then bloomed again, pale and weak but alive. The cabin lit just enough to show the wall. Torn. Split. Empty. The soldier's knees bent heavy. His ribs screamed. His jaw locked. But he stayed standing. The canine's growl softened into panting, its chest heaving, muzzle dripping red. It circled once, then sat hard against the soldier's leg, rigid but alive. The girl clung tighter, sobbing into his sleeve. Her whisper came again, softer now, almost fading. Don't let him find me. The soldier lowered himself to one knee, rifle resting heavy against the floor. He looked at her, eyes burning, voice raw but steady. He won't. Not ever. Not while I'm here. The canine nudged her side gently with its nose, a low whine breaking through its growl. She lifted her face just enough to press her hand into its fur. The soldier exhaled hard, steady, pulling them both closer. The storm outside broke. Light shifted faint through the cracks in the boards. Dawn bled into the room, soft and gray, chasing shadows from the corners. The soldier looked at the wall one last time. Nothing moved. The girl whispered again, softer than ever. Thank you. The soldier nodded, voice low, final. You don't need to thank me. I already chose. The canine barked once, sharp, alive, certain. The soldier pushed to his feet, lantern raised. The dawn was here. The cabin was broken, but they were still standing. He knew the night would stay with him forever, burned into his chest, echoing in every silence he faced. Maybe it would stay with others too. Maybe it would stay with you. Because when the wall asked him to choose, he did. And he chose her.